Hello everyone and welcome to Comic Book Click. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and what we're doing today is we're talking about the new Spotlight card that's coming to Marvel Snap, Herby. Herby is the little robot partner of the Fantastic Four. He's super adorable, and he's also going to be super strong. He is a sort of Nico Minoru styled card where his ability changes every turn. He's a 2/3. Each turn this is in play, swap to a new activate ability until one is used. So you have to play him for him to swap, and you have to activate him on the right turn. So activate, give 2 of your cards at each other location, plus 1 power. That seems really good. That turns him into a 3/7. You can hit cards that make that really, really powerful, like for example, Sebastian Shaw, like for example, Iron Man. It's going to hit 2 different cards, so you've got a reasonable chance at hitting the cards you want. Next up, we've got Activate Create a Rock here, set its power to 4. Really nice. If you end up running him in something like a Zoo deck, that rock will still be buffed by Khazar and Blue Marvel and stuff. It's also going to be vulnerable to your Killmongers of the world, but it will get that extra benefit or bonus from Patriot and so on, which is really, really nice. The other thing that rock does is it really helps you fill a location, which will be important for later Fantastic Four first step cards. And in addition to being powerful, those for Fantastic Four first step cards, it makes your cards like Captain Carter better. You play Carter next to Herbie, and then you can throw a rock behind them without any trouble. From there, we've got Activate Double this card's power. Because this card has 2 different abilities that basically add power to the board, being able to double its power, it's going to go on buff decks, right? So being able to double its power, occasionally it'll get like hit by a Fantastic First Steps card that we talked about this morning over on my channel, and the card we'll quickly look at here. Let's say you get this to a 2/5. All of a sudden, being able to have 10 power for 2 is amazing. And of course, activate next turn, you got +2 energy. Wiccan is a card we build whole decks around. Having access to a Wiccan at any given time is incredible as well. So we know that cards like this always end up strong. Nico, Kate Bishop, and Merlin are cards that sort of add random stuff, that add a bit of variety. So this card is a little more face up, so I'm not sure if it's quite as good, but it is going to be very strong. It seems like he's guaranteed to be at least a good card. He usually plays as a 2/6 or a 2/7, or gives you +2 energy, at which point you'll get the extra power out of him. Surfer absolutely loves his buffs and extra energy. Brood, Shaw, Carter, who also loves the rock. Cards like Iron Man are really, really happy for this as well. It doesn't have to be played in the middle, by the way, for its buffs to 2 other locations. It's any 2 other locations, which is also really nice for a lot of decks. This card's only chance of not being great is the ridiculous competition that exists in the 2-cost slot. The 2-cost slot has Kate Bishop, it has Merlin, it has Surge, it now has Mr. Fantastic First Steps. So that's 5 generically really, really great 2-drops, probably 4 of which are within the top 10 to 15 cards of Marvel Snap. That could keep this card out of decks, but I'd be surprised if it did, because I do think it's great. By the way, if you'd like to win the aforementioned Mr. Fantastic First Steps, all you have to do is head over to my channel, Snap Judgments Pod, on YouTube, and sub, like, and comment. A comment on any video this week will enter you to win Mr. Fantastic First Steps, and we're giving away 5 copies of that card this week. If you're wondering who I am Snap Judgments Pod, also known as Pulse Glazer. I'm Snap Judgments Pod on YouTube, Pulse Glazer over on Twitch. On the YouTube side of things, I release a video every single day, 7 days a week, about Marvel Snap. Almost every day's video has at least 3 decks. We are among the most respected and well-known voices in the whole Marvel Snap community. So if you would like to support us, we'd really appreciate it. We promise to give you reliably great information. Over on the Twitch side of things, I usually stream 4 to 5 days a week, but I'm in the process of moving around the world, so streams are a little bit tentative. I plan to stream tonight, I'm hoping to stream tonight, but I'm in the process of packing up my whole world in order to move to Vietnam. So streams are a little bit inconsistent, but they generally happen 5 days a week, where I stream some of the best decks, again, before a lot of the meta realizes what the best decks even are. Alright, so Mr. Fantastic First Steps we have to talk about, because he's going to be in a lot of these decks. He's a 2/2 with an end of turn ability. Give a card in your hand -1 cost, or +2 power. So end of turn, he's going to do the Fastos thing to a card in hand. Because those cards can just sit in hand for as long as you want, this does seem like it's more powerful, right? Fastos hits once, and then what it's done is done. This can hit the same card multiple times, as far as we know. It seems like an incredibly, incredibly powerful card. The latest in a long line of completely insanely strong 2-drop Season Pass cards. Sam Wilson, Merlin, Iron Patriot. Alright. This is one of my favorite decks in Marvel Snap. I hit Infinite with this a couple seasons ago. A version, obviously, that didn't run First Steps and Herbie. But this deck is incredibly, incredibly useful, and it loves the idea of having access to Herbie in it, because Herbie can take advantage of both the buffs that it gets by doubling its power, and it can provide buffs to other cards, notably, again, Shaw and Captain Carter. Both of that seems like absolutely amazing things. Hell, you can throw Carter in its lane, and then you don't have to worry about Brood or anything else. Getting cards behind Carter seems so much easier. You throw Surfer into that lane, and all of a sudden you have a one lane off of just playing Herbie, Carter, and Surfer, and then you still have all the other power cards and all the other crazy things you can do elsewhere. I think Herbie is going to be amazing here. You can find me at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, as noted previously. This deck needs Carter, Shaw, and Makari. Those three are non-negotiable. There's too many buffs for Shaw not to be great here. Gwenpool can be Galacta here. In my original version, it was Galacta. I played Galacta in that spot, but since Galacta was nerfed, I'm not quite sure whether it or Gwenpool are better. I'm going to have to test to figure that out. Fastos can in this deck be Hope Summers. You do want extra energy. Fastos gives you a little bit of way to do that, along with Surge and Mr. Fantastic, so you're just trying to sort of amplify your chances of getting that. Surge, Herbie, Fantastic First Steps, have been in previous versions. Forge, Mr. Sinister, America Chavez. Feel free to mix and match as you want. Alright, so Fantastic First Steps here is going to be amazing. Basically, the idea of playing him and then hitting a 4 for 3 so that you can double 3 on turn 5, so that you can get even sometimes double 3 on turn 4 with Mr. Fantastic and Surge. It just seems like really, really strong. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do like that. The +2 power is amazing on particularly Brood, Shaw, and Carter. I'm not going to say that for every single buff, but those are the cards you want to buff. Surge does the same basic thing, except obviously it will not stack in the same way. But Surge, to be able to let you fit things into curve, is amazing. I really like Surge to hit Herbie, and then you can drop Herbie on turn 4 with like a Fastos or Nikia type card if you don't see Gwenpool. Okoye is just a nice, simple deck-wide buff. I think it is the most likely card to go. I think Okoye may be better off as Forge here. Okoye is a lot of power in this deck, right? If it hits Brood and Carter, it can represent 3 power. Shaw, it also represents 3 power. That's great, but I don't really want to play Okoye on turn 5, and I'm like 4 4s I want to play on turn 2 is a little bit heavy. So Forge as a 2 I can play on turn 5 that I can play with a Shaw with a Fastos seems better. However, there is the caveat here that I'm not sure how much energy cheat I'm actually going to be able to pull off. I have to test that. Brood, Carter, Fastos, power comes from them. Surfer is your big endgame buff. Again, Surfer's buff is not +2, it's +6 on Brood and Shaw, Brood and Carter, and +5 on Shaw. No, +4 on Shaw, which is just a big old buff. Makari is just 3 power. If it's hit by Okoye, it's by Nikia, it's hit by Fastos. It does kill your Surge buff, which sucks, but you do need that extra free power. You can easily get this to a 3-5 to a 3-7, though, which is very worth it. Nikia, sometimes you want to play Fastos, but all the important cards are in your hand, right? You've drawn Shaw and you've drawn Brood, and you're just like, all right, well, I'll just Nikia them instead. Again, Nikia, like Okoye, is +3 on basically any of the power cards it hits. Fastos can be even better, although its variability can be frustrating. Sometimes the -1 is utterly useless. Shaw's big, and then Gwenpool gives us a chance to get huge and untouchably ridiculous. So I hit Infinite with this deck 2 seasons ago. I think this is genuinely one of the better decks to play pre-Infinite. Turn 1, you have nothing. Turn 2, you play Surge or Mr. Fantastic. Okoye is better than Herbie as an early play. Turn 3, we want Gwenpool if we can. We can also go Fastos or Nikia, pending our hand. Turn 4, Gwenpool over a 2/2. This is a Herbie turn. Turn 5, we go Herbie and Brood, or Brood, Carter, Shaw, or we can go double 3 if some of them are cheaper. Last turn, Brood, Carter, Shaw, and Surfer win. Really simple, really strong. A lot to like about this. If you just want to put down points and like just learn to count how much you think you've got and how much your opponent's got, this is the deck for you. Before we go forward, please sub to Comic Book Click right here on this channel. We're doing our very best to help our friends to have some of the best conversations in all of Marvel and DC and Image independent comics everywhere. If you want the best comic coverage, stick here, sub, like, comment. Help us fight that YouTube algorithm and grow this great channel. Next up, we've got When Chamo Met Herbie. This is our friend MSL Chamo. I'm not sure if Herbie here wants to be Mr. Fantastic First Steps or Herbie himself. However, Chamo finished number 2 on the Infinite Leaderboard with this deck this season. Sorry, last season, I guess, technically. And this deck seems like it gets better with Herbie in it. Herbie, as a way to just say, oh, a little bit of extra buff. I took out Killmonger. Say as a way, oh, that rock is just really great extra power. Being able to double his power after Galacta or Gwenpool seems really good. Same thing as Sinister there. Being able to add just an extra 4 power to the side location seems like it's going to mess up opponents, and that extra energy here is almost never better used. You can find Chamo at twitch.tv/Chamo92. He is a Spanish primary speaker, but he is also an amazing Marvel Snap player, very worth watching. This deck needs Galacta, Gwenpool, and Merlin. Those 3 are not negotiable. Herby can be Herby, Surge, Sinister, and Fenris are sort of swing drops as 2 cards. We're looking at Fantastic First Steps and Killmonger to replace them. Gladiator is needed if you keep Fenris, otherwise you can run the best 3. Copycat is generally good. You can go back and put Killmonger in, although again, remember Killmonger and Herby have a little bit of anti-synergy. Check out YouTube. If you want more on Mr. Fantastic First Steps, please check out my YouTube, youtube.com/snapjudgmentspod. Alright. When Chamo met Herby. Zabu is, generally speaking, your play on turn 1. You want your 4s to be cheaper. You want to play as many 4s late in the game as you can, so Zabu and Surge are doing that. That's why we want Mr. Fantastic First Steps. Sinister and Herby are cards that amplify buffs, so at the end of the game, being able to take a Gwenpool hit or a hit with Galacta, Mr. Sinister or Herby can lead to an extra powerful lane that can compete sort of out of nowhere, especially when combined with your Shang-Chi Enchantress control cards. Surge is your fundamentally second Zabu. Fenris Wolf plays, generally speaking, as about a 2/7, 2/9, sometimes even more than that, thanks to the presence of Shang and Gladiator here. Talked about Herby in this list. That extra power is nice. If he's doing nothing useful, you can trigger his activate, right? You've made a rock and now you've just got a 2/3. Turn him into a 3-drop. Use Merlin for that. Throw him into the deck. Get 2 extra energy. Having double access to ramp cards for this deck with Merlin and Herby is really good. We talked a little bit about what Merlin can do there. Merlin can turn Zabu into a 2. Can really sing by making it be extra energy, and just becoming a 2/5 is really good. We don't like losing to negative, so Mobius is here. Gladiator is a necessity for that Fenris, and also just the biggest card in the deck. Shang and Enchantress offer us control because we don't have that much power, and Galacta and Gwenpool make our power unpredictable, and they can be amplified through the means of Mr. Sinister and Herby. This is currently the rank 2 deck in all of Marvel Snap. It is a legitimately proven deck at the highest levels of the game, and it is one that you should strongly consider playing. Turn 1 Zabu, turn 2 Surge or Merlin over Herby, turn 3 Galacta or Gwenpool over Gladiator or Mobius, turn 4 Galacta or Gwenpool, turn 5 3-cost card and Fenris or Herby, turn 6 Shanger, Enchantress, and Sinister or Herby. And sometimes you can do silly combos with the extra energy there. You need Herby out before 6. You're triggering Herby for turn 6. Cool? You're triggering Herby at the end of the game if it's got that double power, got that rock, got that extra energy, in order to mess with opponents. All of these things work really well. This is silly strong, and it's like a technical deck. It's a hard deck to use, but it's incredible. We've got a lot more Herby decks still to come, though, friends. First, though, remember tonight, hopefully, twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, where I will be streaming some new cards. I gotta hit Infinite, so I gotta find some time. Next up, our Season Pass question is nice and simple. You just like and comment here. On our YouTube at youtube.com/snapjudgmentspod in order to win a Mr. Fantastic First Steps. If you're wondering who won last week's PAX code, please also check out that video, because I thought I announced it here, but I was trying to make 2 different slideshows, and apparently they got a little combined. Alright, next up we've got Crazy's Buffwolf. This is a deck from FAK Crazy, a former multiple-time #1 player that he's been having a lot of success with the new card Clea. Herby is a potential onboard buff for Clea. So is Mr. Fantastic First Steps. So is Kahori. Gwenpool and Galacta can buff it in hand. That's what this deck does. What else can we buff? Well, how about we buff some Sebastian Shaw? That all seems pretty good to me, and that's what this deck is built around. You'll find Crazy at twitch.tv/crazyim. Kahori, Shaw, Werewolf, Clea, and Merlin are all required. Galacta or Gwenpool can be Captain Marvel. Herby, Fantastic, and Surge can be Fenris, Gladiator. Alright, the spells on Clea are incredibly useful for Werewolf. They move Werewolf around, and then they disappear from the board, not clogging your space. It's incredibly strong and incredibly useful. To buff Clea, we have Herby, we have Fantastic, we have Gwenpool, Galacta, and Kahori. So we've got a reasonable chance of making that happen. Zabu makes our forest cost 3. Surge makes our forest cost 3. We've talked about that a million times. Fantastic is best of both worlds. It makes our forest cost 3 sometimes, but also can buff Sebastian Shaw and Clea. Buffing Shaw even in hand will give that extra bonus. Buffing Herby as well when it could be doubled is pretty damn good. Herby hit by any of these buffs is great. Herby buffing Clea or Shaw is great. Herby giving us extra energy so we can do silly power combos is great. All around great stuff here. Merlin is extra energy, use it for cards that have already been used. Zabu used Herby that made a rock or already gave us energy. You can also turn cards into 1 higher cost. I used Shang-Chi, for example. All around great stuff here, and of course the location control. Also, it moves around Werewolf, while also the same way that Clea's spells do without clogging the board. Shaw is your big card. It doesn't look like it, but it is. You should almost always, be able to hit it with a couple things. Playing a 313 to 315 in power is pretty damn nice, and a huge surprise for opponents and wins games. Power must be controlled. Galacta, Gwenpool, and Kahori are huge buffs. You have a play line where you can go something like Clea into Herbie, into Shaw, into Kahori, where you're just going to be like dropping crazy power all over the board. That Herbie's going to eventually double that. That Shaw's going to eventually eat all that, and you're going to get a bunch of extra Clea things in hand. It seems like it's so cool. So turn 1, Zabu over Clea. Turn 2, Fantastic or Surge over equals Merlin over Herbie. If you don't have a 3-drop, I would tend to go Merlin, and then I would go Fantastic or Surge with the spell on 3. Turn 3, I want Werewolf usually over a 4-drop. I will play Werewolf over Galacta or Gwenpool, and then I will play Shaw if I must, and I have Kahori. Turn 3, Galacta or Gwenpool usually, Kahori unless you went Clea, Merlin, Herbie, Shaw. I very often want Kahori to be my last turn play because it'll move Werewolf and provide unpredictable buffs for the board. Turn 5, Shaw and Herbie or Clea. Turn 6, we can go Shang and move Wolf with some spells, or we can go Kahori and move Wolf with some spells. I really like this deck. I had a lot of success with it early in the season, and I think that earlier in the week, I guess it was last week, Clea's new. But I really do enjoy this list, and I hope you give it some run if you got the card Clea, who I think is honestly underrated in this kind of shell. Literally, this week we're getting 2 more cards to buff Clea. It's wild. If you're interested in some gameplay, I'm extremely busy, so check out the stream team. Today we've got Prashant streaming, and then tomorrow it will be Game with Flash X, so make sure you check out our friends streaming these very decks. Alright. Finally, we've got Iris. Iris was in the top 10 with this and is still in the top 40, playing a sort of Ms. Marvel go off deck. What I want in a Ms. Marvel deck is a way to fill lanes without extra commitment. A way to fill lanes with different costs without extra commitment. And Herbie and Rhino both offer that. If I play Herny on the left, Rhino on the right, I can play Ms. Marvel, and then I immediately get that +5. But what this deck really wants to do is then play like Ancient One in the middle with Ms. Marvel, and then one other card, I don't care what, say Shang, and then sort of go off and make every lane a Ms. Marvel lane. You can also do the same thing with Claw or Sarah, though obviously not as good. But like the Ms. Marvel version giving +15 to both sides is insanely good and wins an awful lot of games to Snap. So this deck needs Luna, Ms. Marvel, and Ancient One. Yeah, this is like a core Ancient One list. Fantastic and Herbie were Killmonger and Shadow King before they came out. That's what I changed them for. I totally understand why they are what they are on the original, but I think Fantastic and Herbie offer me enough extra. You can also replace Surge with Killmonger or Shadow King as necessary. Penny Parker is really important here because you do want that early Sarah, and that could be Jennifer Kale. So Fantastic and Surge do the same thing they always do here. They make stuff cheaper. They add extra buffs. They're just nice cards to have access to. We really want Sarah on turn 4 here, and having extra ways to get toward that is important. Herbie gives us access to an immediate turn on of Ms. Marvel. It can also give us bodies, right? If we play Herbie and make it a rock in the Ms. Marvel lane, that is now going to be 3 bodies that we can Ancient One with Ms. Marvel. Perfectly fine. Really nice stuff to have access to. Merlin lets us change some costs, helps us make sure our Ms. Marvel stays on if things like squirrels and so on happen. That's why Killmonger was here. Penny Parker gives us access to Ramp, which is access to Sarah Ramp, which is very important. Same thing Luna does. Having the extra energy is nice no matter what, but it's specifically for Penny and Sarah. If you can get Sarah out early in a big lane, if you can use Penny to do that, once in a while you can Ancient One. It's really hard to do, but it works out when it works out. You're more likely to end up doing that with Claw, to be perfectly clear. Rhino is an immediate turn on, again, of Ms. Marvel. Well, it can also give you 2 bodies to use for the Ms. Marvel. Ancient One is great here. Ancient One is the way you win the game, fundamentally. Ancient One is your way to go over the top in terms of power. Adding +15 to locations, or +21 to locations if it's Claw, is a lot. Luna Snow is extra energy, and that's pretty damn nice. So is Herbie, by the way. Herbie will occasionally do your ramping for you. Shang lets you stop things that go over the top of you. Ms. Marvel and Claw are your combo card, and then Sarah lets you have the energy to do the thing. This is a top 40 deck right now. Turn 1 pass, turn 2 Penny if Sarah, Fantastic Surge over Merlin. Turn 3 we want Luna if Sarah over Spider if Sarah over Ancient One. Turn 4 if we can Sarah with Snapping. We can also go 2+2 reasonably well, and that's more or less equal to Ms. Marvel. If we have Ms. Marvel now, we're considering Snapping, though. Turn 5, Sarah or Ancient One plus Herbie is better than Claw. Remember, you need to get Ancient One out by turn 5, or you're not going to have a turn to play the Dow. Turn 6, we're playing the Dow and Shang or Rhino, and then we're triggering Herbie. And we should be able to get an extra 15 power in each lane, plus whatever else we have, and win the damn game. It's really cool and really powerful. I don't know how else to explain it. This deck puts up a ton of points. It's got a lot more play to it than it looks. Yes, it is actually disruptible. I don't think it matters in a lot of games, and you put up just a ton of points and are very frustrating to play against. Question of the day. Our friend at Thinking Poker Andrew says, do you have any other creative suits outside of the podcast? Any instruments, ever make any comics yourself? So, I write largely essays occasionally, or at least I used to. I used to do some writing for some various websites. I used to write about comics. I did some critical reviews of comics, reviews of pro wrestling for a website that paid me called Inside Pulse for a while. I never have had any musical skills, so no. I consider, and not a lot of people will, but I consider teaching a creative pursuit. Coming up with lessons, coming up with delivery, figuring out the best way to reach people, that is a creative pursuit. But we've got one other creative pursuit coming. It's not exactly a podcast. I'm going to do a vlog. I'm moving to Vietnam in about a week, and we are going to do a vlog, a series of videos about the move. I think I've got like 50 or 60 ideas. So if you're interested, check out yugo.com/@pulseglazer. S-S6C if you're interested in checking it out. It was going to be our Pokemon Pocket channel. That was originally built to be our Pokemon Pocket channel, and it's not going to be because I didn't like that game like a week after it came out. I didn't find it fun. We're going to turn that into the vlog channel. So if you're interested in following my life and how that works, I'll be announcing that on the main channel relatively soon. But I figured I'd give those who followed me over here a little bit of a head start. If you're interested, I think it's going to be a fairly interesting journey, and I hope you'll join me for it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back here next Tuesday talking about Human Torch first steps. And if you're interested in the daily videos, don't forget Snap Churches Pod over on YouTube. Peace.